Back in 2020, I decided to take a look at the awesome anime that existed at the time that I knew of and that I was a big fan of, and that was One Punch Man. It was an innocent review about my opinions on the series and how I felt in the series as a whole, and saying that it was one of the greatest animated series or animes that I've seen at the time, and I still feel strongly about that to this day. The entire concept of One Punch Man was that it was about the world's strongest superhero or the world's strongest man becoming a superhero and wanting the thrill of the world's strongest fight. The series is a parody of everything superheroes, anime, comic books, animated series, everything that you could dream of, and it was a fantastic series, especially at the time. The series also had a lot going for it with a great cast of superheroes and trying to teach children, as well as teenagers or readers of the manga, what a hero really means to the writers of this series or the manga creators. But the series had one hell of an ultimate ending that knew that a season 2 was up and coming. But where would the series to go from here? Like with any good TV series or even, comic books and manga that exist to this day, a lot of times when you have a season 1, you usually have to continue with season 2, especially in the terms of anime more so than anything else. With anime, there's always a complex story to follow that comes from the manga itself. One Punch Man was released, I think, in 2013. This DVD was, and I cannot find anything about that on here, but it was still quite a successful series. It had great comedy, great action, and a great protagonist who was Saitama, who was deemed the world's strongest man. But, however, it did have a lot to own up to, especially with the way that season 1 ended with the battle against Lord Boros. So, the anime really did have a lot of things to answer for. So the manga continued pretty strong, with having the rest of the story be about the monster King Orochi starting to rise to his way to stardom. But did the anime or season 2 of One Punch Man acquire what everybody wanted? Well, I should definitely say it's been a while since I've done one of these. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a lazy review. We're going to take a look and try to knock out One Punch Man Season 2. Was it everything I was expecting, or did it have nothing for me to offer? Here is my lazy review, and dear God, I'm hoping that it is not a repeat of my Wolverine review. Again, I'm very sorry for the way that review turned out. So anyways, that's it, lazy. Let's get cathartic. This is my lazy review of One Punch Man Season 2. Greetings, geeks and nerds, and Wade's Universe, and I'm White and Nerdy. One Punch Man Season 2 has always been on my radar for quite some time, especially after I heard that the series was going to be released. It took a while for the series actually to be released, whether it's always up in legal limbo or because animation, and it is still today, in an expensive medium, who knows. But we got back the original voice cast. We got back Madhouse Studios and bringing in one of the most creative anime series ever. Whereas with season 1, you had, a bunch of great comedy, a bunch of great moments, and even watching it. And even watching it recently, I really found out that it was still one of my favorite anime series to watch to this day. But, does season 2 have the greatness that season 1 had? Well, I almost broke out in the alpha there. Well, I have to say that there are a lot of things that this series does well, but there's a lot of negatives as well. So, first and foremost, allow me to say that this series is one of the most impressive animated wise, but the story kept going all over the place, unfortunately for me, and it was really hard for me to keep focused on how damn good the series was. But I will note that they did make a great villain out of both the monster King Orochi and also Goro becoming an appearance, because I forgot if Goro was talked about in season 1, and he was. So that was something that I actually forgot about with season 1. So when season 1 began, does it have the same punch that the original season 1 had? Well, yeah and no, because the story was a lot more decent. I mean, you had, the monster kingdom starting to rise and revolt against the human, which was pretty much interesting, as well as having Goro be a part of the whole entire monster kingdom as well. It's been 5 years after the alien attack that Burrow did upon everybody, and City A is still rebuilding itself, and the Hero Association is trying its best to become stronger. And also, Goro was quite an impressive match for this series. See, Goro was a student of Bane, so he wants revenge against Bane for everything that he done to him, especially kick him out of his martial arts academy. What's funnier enough as it is that Goro sees himself as a monster. Why? Who knows, truthfully, but it makes the story more interesting. Goro is a very interesting aspect to have in the series. He's a guy who always rooted for the monster instead of the superhero in this situation where, as when I was growing up, you always cheered for the superhero, you never cheered, for the villain. You always wanted, like, Superman, Batman, Spider Man, Thor, the Hulk, whatever, to win against the enemy. That was the whole entire point of, superhero. But now we live in a day and age where villains are even celebrated as well too. You have villains like the Joker, Penguin, Poison Ivy, Lex Luthor. you know, I'm trying to think of other ones. Uh, General Dodd, Reverse Flash. We live in a day and age where the villains are talked about as much as the heroes. And nowadays, especially with children mostly, you can talk to the child about the villain, but they don't care about the villain. They care about the superhero. They the ones that are on screen, kicking 10 kinds of ass. And I thought it was really brilliant to kind of be like, okay, this Goro is a fucking prick. He hates heroes. He hates everything about them. But then what's funny is that he has a revelation later on that he doesn't care about good or evil. He just wants to be the strongest. So it kind of seems to me like maybe later on in the series that Garo might get stronger, where he might reach a point where he's at his strongest, and he ends up fighting Saitama. And in fact, there are jokes where he's trying to fight Saitama, and he doesn't end up doing so. He ends up getting his ass handed to him a lot more times than you think, actually. But I really do like how Garo is introduced into this series. That he's a very great protagonist with a drive for why he does what he does, and he's even made more dangerous when he ends up getting a handbook from a little boy, and it tells him the attacks that all the heroes do, and he uses it as a weakness to spotlight against the superheroes. It's kind of a reference to My Hero Academia in a sense, but there is a moment where Garo's looking through a handbook with a little boy, and he wants to find out the secret of the superheroes, and he ends up using it against them. There's even an episode where we get to spotlight or focus on Metal Bat, who is a hero in the series that we only met one time, and in fact, Metal Bat is actually pretty awesome. And the reason why I find Metal Bat so awesome is the fact that he is a parody of Yukisei Urameshi, and you cannot tell me that he is not Yukisei Urameshi to a T. He is a perfect match for Yukisei Urameshi. The entire time I was watching the episode, I think it's the not 13th, I think it's the 14th episode or 15th when we focused on Metal Bat. But he is this pretty awesome hero. In fact, I was actually rooting for him the entire time. In fact, this is my favorite episode because you get to understand why Metal Bat does what he does. And we know that from season 1, he talked about his sister, that he does have a little sister that he tends to look out for. Whether his parents are dead or not, we do not know. But he cares for his little sister. He loves her a lot, and as a big brother and a little brother, I can understand where he's coming from entirely throughout the entire episode. That he wants to protect, his family, his loved ones, which is something that everybody, mothers, fathers, anyone out there that's watching this video can go, yeah, you do want to do that kind of thing, And in fact, he actually beats up I think they're dragon level threats in the episode. He beats up two of threats that come into the restaurant that he's eating at. But then it gets even bigger. Like somebody was like, either one or Murata was like, hey, what if we have Metal Bat face off against a giant threat? What? Yeah, you think about it. Just think about a guy with a bat going up against this, like, big motherfucking threat. I mean, how would you react to that? How do you think the readers or the audience would react to that? I don't know. And yes, I'm not kidding you. Metal Bat goes up against this gigantic thing that's called a Centipede, and this motherfucker is huge, and you're sitting there going, how in the fuck is he gonna deal with this? And at the same time, he's dealing with GoGo at the same time, and you're really thinking like, what in the world is Metal Bat gonna do against this humongous threat? That is not a joke either, ladies and gentlemen. Metal Bat officially goes up against a giant centipede, and he starts beating it mercilessly. Just the fact that you can see a superhero like that going up against a bigger level threat was actually awesome, and probably the highlight of season 2 is the episode The Metal Bat. There's even a moment where Metal Bat goes up against Garo, and his fighting spirit just carries on. He's getting the shit kicked out of him and the snot kicked out of him, but he's still fighting. One Punch Man Season 2, also something that I really like that it does, is that it focuses on the hero's past, and more so not Saitama in this regard, actually, but mostly Genos. Like, we focus on Genos and everything that he's going through throughout Season 2. If you remember in Season 1, he wanted to focus on getting stronger, and in fact, he himself have gotten stronger just within his will of the hero, something that he holds deep within him, the justice that he wants. To even define the lone cyborg that killed his entire town. And in season 2, he has a lot of great moments where he's going up against threats that you don't think that he could take care of himself, but he manages to do that. There was an episode in here, I forget which one, where he's fighting off just a huge horde of enemies all by himself. There's monsters that are coming up and all over the place, and he's fighting them off one by one, and he's just having the fight of his life. He's fighting through hell and back again, and he's really giving it his all, his A game. And I think that was one of the also highlights of the entire season 2, was that you get to see Genos go up against these threats. There is a moment where he goes up against the Centipede, and something that I don't like about it, so this is negativity criticism, is that he doesn't beat the Centipede. In fact, Saitama does, he just does it in one punch, But I really did like the fact that it should have been Genos that at least took it down, or at least weakened it, but it was still fighting strong. I was really hoping that Genos would have been the one just to take it down all within himself. I don't know how he would have done that, but it really would have been something to have him like, okay, see how much stronger that he becomes, instead of just, just kind of like weakening it. In fact, if he did that. But similar to what he did with Deep Sea King in season 1, where he ended up taking him almost down completely by himself. I was kind of hoping that would have been the point of season 2, but it wasn't. But the hero journey for Genos really did matter in this episode, in this series. And also, I liked how these heroes, the other ones like Moomin Rider and a lot more, and King, look up to Saitama, and this season really goes into like what Saitama means to the world of superheroes, which I thought was actually nice. Like, he's not just an unknown hero, he's not just an unknown entity, he is in fact a willpower for a lot of heroes to become stronger and stronger and stronger and keep on fighting. And again, Genos just had a wild ride of a series to get to where he is now, to becoming even stronger. And in fact, you see that until you start cheering for Genos a lot more. But again, yeah, when Kane meets Saitama for the first time, he resurrects on how, he met Saitama through accidents, and that got him to higher ranks throughout the Hero Association. In fact, when he's talking about, what Saitama had done for him, the way that he protected him and everything, kind of gave him the will to become an even stronger hero, in fact, when he's actually a pansy. And there's another character that is introduced into season 2, who is Shiryu, who is a martial artist. He's a really fantastic martial artist. The one thing I don't like with him is that they don't explain how strong he is. I know with Saitama it's supposed to be shrouded in mystery, which is, for the sake of the reader's point, they probably will get to it when the series officially ends. But I don't like that Shiryu just has this really unique, like, martial arts superstar ability, and then he just doesn't end up barely ever telling us why he is so strong the way that he is. And with the Monster Uprising, it really didn't get me really excited. I mean, with Boros and the monster that was showing up in season 1, that gave me like, okay, there is a reason why everything is happening, and then the big lead up to Lord Boros made it even more powerful. We do see Montekina Roshi in season two, I think about a couple times in a few episodes, but we don't officially have him battle it out. I think if he appeared at the end of season two, even if he didn't fight nobody, but he just showed up, like like Shao Kahn, I think it what did in the first Mortal Kombat movie back in the '90s. That would have been an awesome kind of like read off to give you like a season three, approximately sequel to happen. But I don't think we were going to end up getting a season three as it is. I think that One Punch Man might just have a season two unless it does get a season three. I don't know. But as season two goes, it's not the best that I have seen. I mean, I really would have liked it if we focused more on the hero journey for Saitama and both Genos, because throughout, season two, Saitama goes, "Oh, I want to be a stronger superhero, but it's so boring because I don't have the thrill of a fight." And especially when he's fighting Shiryu, he shows no pleasure in fighting Shiryu when he is in a martial art tournament. And when the monsters appear and then they tell you how they became a monster with two monster cells, like people have to eat these to become a monster. I didn't like that idea. I thought, like, okay, maybe if they just became villains or monsters themselves out of ridiculous ideas, like Crab Lante, I became a villain for eating too much crab. That's funny in of itself because that's supposed to be the parody of how a villain becomes a villain. Given us the explanation, I don't think it was really, really necessary. I really could have done the entire length of season two without that. But there were some good episodes. Like I said, the Metal Bat is probably the best example of an episode done really, really well. But the hero journey for Genos was really damn good. I loved how it did that, but it just failed dramatically towards the end of it. And especially King, who really gets a big moment in season two, really surprised me as well too. But Saitama just wasn't that focused on as he was season one, where she's supposed to be the focus of it because we have multiple characters. And I admit, kind of similar to X Men, it's hard to focus on just one character at all times. But we could have had an equal amount of everything. I really do love the episode, the Metal Bat, which kind of makes me hope that like Moomin Rider will get an episode where we get to see just how badass Moomin Rider is. I know that he's been kicked around and he gets the shit kicked out of him all the time, but I love Moon Rider. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys do too. But I think that Middle Bat probably for me takes the cake. And another thing that I really hated too was that the fight with Watchdog Man and Garo got knocked right out. I was expecting to see that big ass fight between them like in the manga. But no, you don't actually get to see the fight between Watchdog Man and Geno and Garo. I mean, not Genos. And that might have made me upset. But I do like Garo again, the fact that he's just a kid that's been cheering up on the villains of like superhero shows and whatnot, like Power Rangers, for example. Like he would cheer on more Zed and Rita, while everybody else would be cheering on the Power Rangers. He feels like that kind of kid, and he's not a bad protagonist, but I really wish that he just wasn't the main focus of the series. I kind of wish that he would have came in like halfway about, basically, and then we could have focused on him as well too. I mean, I know that he was talked about in season one, that kind of was the purpose to have him in here, but I think we could have gone just a little more episodes without him being the main focus, is what I'm trying to say. So all in all, One Punch Man season two just wasn't my piece of cake. I mean, it had some great episodes, but there were just a lot of episodes that really did take me out of it, so I couldn't enjoy it as much as you guys probably did. So let me know, season two, you guys a piece of cake, or were you like me and you didn't really enjoy it? Did you think that it was pretty insightful for what it was trying to do? Let me know in the comment down below. And if you haven't seen One Punch Man season two, let me know in the comment down below too, because maybe you guys will be willing out to check this series and see if it's worth your time and effort. But for me, it kind of wasn't. And that's gonna do it for my lazy review of One Punch Man season two. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment down below. Are you really hyped up for it and you don't agree with my comments, or are you kind of in my category where you liked it but it wasn't everything that you expected? Let me know in the comment down below. Anyway, guys, I've been Lazy Universe. I've been Waiting Nerdy. Keep geeking on. Join me at Twitter with a link in the description down below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay tuned for more. And I'll see you guys in the next Lazy Universe video. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.